Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Hazy Sports Podcast. We've got big news with Gavin McKenna to talk about today. We've got fights on the golf course. We've got some music news to talk about. And man, it's hot out there. But Charlie, how you handling the heat?
We're getting by, Jason. Thank God for air conditioning. Like these weeks, I always wonder how I survived at my parents' house who didn't have air conditioning, my entire childhood, because it's pretty uncomfortable. But we had a big family barbecue yesterday. We had 11 people down, so of course you make enough food for 43 people. I'm gonna be eating leftovers for the next month. It's insane, but great time. The pool got a lot of use yesterday, but all in all, I'm handling the heat okay.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that too with the air conditioning on how you got by. Is like when we got back from our week off after the wedding, the AC unit was broke down and it was like 29 degrees in the house, and of course took like a week to get somebody in to fix it. So yeah, I felt like I was just barely getting by in life without air conditioning, but hard to believe. We used to kind of grow up and, my dad was always big on the cross breeze, which I thought he overstated a little bit in terms of how much cooling that was provided. Anyways, the AC unit's fixed. We got new capacitors in there, so she's firing nicely.
Flux
like
capacitors?
Yeah, surprisingly, they're not that expensive. So if it was the compressor I was worried about, but just the capacitors, so we're good to go. It's like an ice box down in this basement, so I'm feeling pretty good. But yeah, we were planning on actually taking a week off here the summer, doing a little bit more of a lighter schedule, but then this Gavin McKenna news broke, and so we wanted to talk about it because it has some big implications, I think, from junior hockey all around, and obviously the direction that things are going on the NCAA side of things.
Wave it off. Fuck, let's go. Fucking wear that stick at me again, you're gonna fucking eat it. Jared fucking teeth. You wanna get knocked out again? We got a guy for you.
Yeah, I heard all the rumors building up and this was months ago, before anything was kind of decided. And then like a week ago, you heard he was taking visits. And I'm like, holy shit, this is actually going to happen. And then obviously this week, the official commitment. It's pretty exciting, right? Like there's been first overall picks play in the NCAA before, but this guy is like jumping ship from what is the Premier League in Canada to go and test himself in this next step, and it's huge. Like it's huge.
Yeah, I think he could be like the first big domino from an NIL perspective to kind of fall. I've been hearing lots of things in terms of what people think this is going to do from a CHL perspective. What are your thoughts?
So the stupid thing is this warning of this potentially happening was like years ago, right? Because it got rectified that this was going to be allowed this coming year, but there was talks about this for 5 years that this is what's going to happen. And the CHL kind of just did nothing, I guess, sort of relying on, we're the best game in Canada. So what are they going to do? Are they really going to take this big move? But if you think about it, a lot of these kids are out of province or whatever, and they're staying with people they don't know, billet families. So I think the CHL kind of thought they'd want to stay in Canada, but what's more fun than going to college and playing at the next level?
Yeah, well, we were kind of going back and forth on some of these YouTube videos where they do the tours of these NCAA campuses and the arenas and the facilities. And you can see why somebody like McKenna would fall in love with that. Whether it's Penn State, Michigan, Minnesota, Michigan State, they're all top notch. Obviously, they have like so much money within those universities and the boosters there. But you go there and you see they almost have NHL level facilities. They've got the training staff there. You're also getting an education to fall back on because not all these guys are gonna. How much solid work they're doing there is questionable, but you are getting at least that collegiate experience, which would be kind of cool. And I think one of the bigger benefits I've heard is just because of the training staff and the facilities that they have there. For a guy like McKenna, who's got nothing left to prove really from an OHL perspective or from a talent perspective, his biggest thing is getting NHL ready from a body standpoint and putting on some muscle. And those facilities there and the trainers that they have there are perfect to be able to do that. Plus, I think they only play about 38, 40 games in NCAA. So you just have a little bit more time to work on the training side of things. So depending on what you're needing in your career, like I guess on the other hand, if you're on the CHL side, it's actually a benefit that you're playing more like 80 games. Some guys probably need more of the game experience, and guys like McKenna probably need that balance of playing with some older guys while also being able to get that training in first class.
That's why I think it's such a cool move, right? Like he could stay in Medicine Hat and probably put up 160 points, but the fact that he's going to challenge himself now against older competition, like you said, it's less games. So your risk of injury going into your draft year is probably lower because you're not on the ice as much. But just to want to take on that challenge before you get to the next level, I think shows a lot about that kid. And I don't know, I think a lot of guys are going to be doing this. Like, go cut your teeth in Oshawa for 2 years. And like, what's more exciting, a Friday night in Brampton or going on campus in Penn State? I can't believe anybody with, draft potential isn't going to go this route. Like, money aside, if you're that good, you're going to get the money at some point. But I think this is just going to be a revolving door now.
It could almost be like the CHL becomes a feeder league for the NCAA, because I think you would have to be 18 to be able to play NCAA, right? So you're going to maybe get fewer overagers in the CHL and more of them playing NCAA, and maybe the CHL becomes more of that 16, 17, 18-year-old league.
Yeah.
And then they get an opportunity to like you say, cut their teeth, show their stuff, play a lot of games, and then NCAA becomes almost a finishing school before you go pro.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a bad thing, right? Like, It's going to suck a little bit for the CHL, but if you get 16, 17, 18 out of these kids, that's still going to be a highly skilled, highly competitive league. I do think you're going to see some teams kind of have to fold. Like if let's say the OH or the CHL decides to start paying these kids a little more, like I think they're going to have trouble in some of the fringe markets.
Yeah, like the Knights are, the gold standard of OHL in terms of the facilities and, just the organization that they're running there. But I got to think if you're in Owen Sound or North Bay or one of those places, you're not getting the training facilities, just the level of support from a resources standpoint that you're getting is probably not even close to these NCAA spots.
No, and here's another crazy thing. So when Macklin Celebrini was drafted first overall, his signing bonus was $290,000. So that's the only thing that kid's guaranteed. And McKenna just got $700,000 to go and play at Penn State. So, I feel bad for the NHL. Like, their entry level stuff is kind of a scam for these kids, especially up until now. You weren't making anything really until you got to that point. So I think it's awesome for these kids to actually gain something before you get into the league too.
Obviously, 700,000 is the top from a hockey perspective, but over the next 5 years, you got to think that's just going to skyrocket
100%.
as these schools are competing for the best players and they start to see this as an opportunity. I think we'll probably see in the millions next year. It's already there with basketball and football, beyond that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just going to keep going up and up and up. And I think it's great. Either the CHL's got to step up or they're probably going to fall by the wayside. And I think it's awesome for these kids.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing that got me pumped up is for us to do an NCAA road trip. When I kind of went down that YouTube rabbit hole of watching all the facility tours and seeing the campus, and it just there's just something that seems kind of fun when you look at Penn State of like, going there and getting to experience that college town. And I'm sure there's like some awesome bars and restaurants to go to, and just seeing a game in a collegiate atmosphere with the band and everything. I've never seen a college game live, so I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I kind of compare it to go and see a band at a really small venue before they blow up kind of thing, right? Like you're going to a 5,000 seat arena to go see these guys that are going to be at the next level before they get there.
Yeah, well, that'll be interesting to follow, and yeah, exciting to watch. Penn State, they got Michael Misa's younger brother, is it Luke Misa?
Yeah,
Luke Misa there, plus didn't you say that 7-footer playing for Brantford this year is a Penn State commit? He's
a commit, yeah. So he's got to get 2 years. There's another guy, 2 years in the CHL, and then he's out of here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I just sort of kind of got into NCAA hockey where I was following it semi closely last year, so I'm kind of excited to get in right from the start of the season and follow it a little more closely this year.
So now the interesting thing is, like, are they going to start showing it more in Canada? Like, I know even watching junior hockey is almost impossible unless you buy I forget what the streaming service is, but they have their own. But now, like, if you're TSN, who seems to just run blooper reels on 3 of their 5 channels, and then they've got the CFL and fucking curling, and that's about it. If I'm the CFL, I'm like, how do I secure these NCAA hockey rights?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we could do the misplays of the month only so many times here if you've got good NCAA content. I think they have, like, the Big Ten network is a big deal down in the US, so I'm sure they could reach some sort of agreement there.
Probably be blacked out.
Yeah, but well, it'll be interesting. We'll have to figure out what school we want to go check out first for the road trip. Maybe start in Michigan and then expand out from there.
Yeah, I'm down with that. They're all definitely within a day's drive, so we'll make her to one.
Cool. Well, more news, the junior side of things here this week. Isaac Iceman Howard got traded to your Oilers.
Yeah.
So Michigan State guy just won the Hobey Baker Trophy. We talked about him a little bit on the last episode. Got drafted late first round draft pick by Tampa. They didn't see eye to eye. I think he wanted to get in the lineup right away, and I think they had a slower path for him. Oilers get him now. They give up a pretty good prospect in O'Reilly from the London Knights. Tell me your thoughts on this. What do you think of the trade?
So I'm a little torn because I do think O'Reilly's going to be, I don't think he's going to be a flashy guy, but I think he's going to be a consistent player in the NHL for 12, 15 years, maybe, a bottom 6 guy, but he's just a smart player. And, even London put a lot of trust in that guy. I do think they've lost a player like that, but if you start watching Isaac Howard's highlight stuff on YouTube, this kid just loves to shoot, and he's just a natural goal scorer. Defense probably could use a little refinement, but this guy's ready right now. Like, I think O'Reilly's probably, and especially now going to Tampa, you may not see him for another year or two, but this kid's ready to play. Whether or not he slots in the top 6 right off the bat, I don't know. Like, I think there's been a lot of hype. I follow a lot of Oilers stuff, and like they're slotting him in on the top line with McDavid, and I'm like, we could probably pump the brakes a little bit on that one. But who knows, right? If he clicks and the kid loves to shoot, and there's no better guy setting people up than McDavid. But it's exciting. It's a young guy, right? They had to get younger. They did that. I'm just not sure the expectations are realistic right now, right off the bat.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those trades that's fun to watch and revisit 5 years down the road, because it really could go either way. It seemed like a kind of a win-win where the Oilers needed a guy that they could plug in a little bit sooner. And Tampa has a little bit more runway, I think, with their prospects to let them develop a bit. But I didn't know a ton about O'Reilly before the trade. I know he had a good year with the Knights this year, is knowing a little bit more for his defensive skills. But give that 5 years, and we'll see. That could be interesting to follow and see who won that trade.
I don't think, like, I think both teams got exactly what they needed, right? Like your Tampa, you can develop O'Reilly a little bit more, and when he is ready to play in the NHL, he's probably going to be a pretty polished guy. And Edmonton needed a guy who can run and gun and just ultimately give them another threat. So I think it's a win-win.
And now the Oilers are significantly younger heading into next year, which I think could be exciting if all of these guys pan out. I'm hearing a lot of good things about Savoie.
Yeah, that's another guy. Like he played his first year in the AHL last year, and I believe he had 60 points or something like that, which is pretty decent. He's another undersized guy with some speed, but a whole ton of offensive skill, and they've already slotted him in on the second line. Like, I love the fan stuff because it's almost like they're playing a video game, or we can just put these guys in and everything's going to be perfect. But you got rid of 40-year-old Corey Perry, you got rid of an aging Evander Kane, and you got younger, and that's what they had to do. Whether or not this is going to sway the McDavid decision, I don't know, but it's exciting to get younger without having to lose anything from the core of the team.
I guess just closing out on the junior side of things, the Hunter brothers got hired to lead the World Junior team this year. Great move, I think, in my opinion, just in terms of their pedigree, their winning, reputation, and just the results that they've gotten. I think Dale was a head coach already with the juniors and won a gold. Yep. Canada really coming off a few bad years, finishing out of the medals the last 2 years. So I think they wanted to bring the top dogs in to get things back on track. And it'll be interesting with McKenna still eligible to play this year, have him leading the way, see if Canada can get things back on track.
Yeah, I think that's the smartest thing they could do. Like, after a bit of a train wreck last year where like some of the best junior players weren't even invited to camp, like because of politics behind the scenes with agents and stuff like that, I think the Hunters are just going to come in, and if you're one of the top players, you're getting an invite and you're probably making the team. And I can guarantee you Sam O'Reilly's going to be either on the first or second line for that team, because I know Mark Hunter loves that guy and trusts him quite a bit. So can almost guarantee, unless he makes Tampa, which you never know, but I guarantee he'll be playing for Team Canada.
Obviously, Schaefer's probably going to be with the Islanders. Any chance Misa's available for the juniors, do you think?
I was actually thinking about that, and I could see him getting, it's hard to say because I don't think the Sharks want to win. Like, if you've seen the guys they've signed as far as their defense goes.
I don't know. They just added Reeves for that offensive punch.
I thought it was funny when Reeves in his exit interview from Toronto was talking about he wants to have one more run at a cup. And I'm like, are you fucking... How delusional are you? The guy is unplayable.
Is there even a spot in the league for a guy like that? That enforcer role has now evolved to be your Tom Wilson type player. Like, you can no longer afford to have a guy that's a liability out there from an offensive and defensive standpoint.
No, and I know the Sharks have quite a few defensemen, but the fact the Leafs even got a 24-year-old, right shot defenseman for Ryan Reeves, who's making way too much money, is crazy. Anyways, back to your original question. I could see Misa getting, because he didn't get the invite last year for whatever reason, I could see the Sharks letting him go because I don't think they have any interest in competing, really. They're more just developing some of these other guys. So that would be interesting.
Yeah, and if Martone becomes available, if he doesn't play with the Flyers, that could be a pretty interesting Team Canada lineup there.
Yeah, I think we're definitely medaling next year. Maybe not the gold, but I don't think you'll see any of the disaster that this past year was.
We talked about Reeves a little bit and sort of that tough guy enforcer role. That kind of leads me to something that blew up online over the last week. Tarnasky. Ex-enforcer, played 5 years in the NHL, had a bit of a dust up on the golf course. Did you get a chance to watch that video?
Oh, man, I think I've watched it 15 times. And that, if the internet has done anything it's these fight videos where you just love seeing the antagonist get the shit kicked out of them. And like when that guy's standing up on the tee box and he's almost flexing, just making these sounds like he's gonna scare Nick Tarnasky away. And then my favorite part that I didn't notice the first time I saw it, Tarnasky's buddy, after Nick throws him almost in the lake, you can hear his buddy go, "Yeah, you're off to a pretty good start there, bud." And I just laugh every time. But how embarrassing must it be to be in a fight where the guy is yelling bang as he's punching him in the face?
Oh,
Just
that was
incredible.
classic. The guy that got beat up actually put out a video yesterday I saw kind of apologizing, basically admitting he was an idiot and he drank too much. And I thought that was pretty good. I mean, after making a complete ass of yourself, he kind of took it on the chin and took accountability for it.
That's hilarious. I haven't seen that yet. But yeah, like what else do you do, right?
Yeah.
You're getting ragdolled.
I think he probably had to try to get ahead of it. Otherwise, you're just forever known as the idiot on the golf course.
Did you see the video where someone's put a memorial sign up on the hole now?
Yes.
Where where in quotes it says "fucking cry about it." Just awesome. Sometimes the internet's pretty funny. Yeah, I've watched that at least 20 times, and I'm probably gonna go back and watch it again. It's just incredible.
The guy had a pretty good chin, though. I will give him that. Like, if his buddy wasn't there to eventually hold him back, I think he would have just kept coming until Tarnasky killed him.
I do love, too, that the drunk guy's buddy was even saying, "You're not tough. You're not tough." Basically trying to stop him from continuing it. But you're right. He did take a good, what do you say, 10 or 12 straight rights to the face.
Yeah, like those were connecting clean.
That guy could be, get him on some skates. Maybe he can play the enforcer role. Yeah, incredible video. One of my favorite things of the off season so far.
And I will say, slow play in golf has almost ruined it for me. Like, I cannot go out on the weekends anymore. I just can't handle a 5-hour round where you're waiting every shot. You know, it feels like every time you go out, especially on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, you get a group in front of you that spends 5 minutes looking for the ball. It's hard not to get angry. I can't handle a 4.5, 5-hour round anymore.
That's why when we used to golf quite a bit, I always loved golfing with Evan, because it would just be walk up to the ball, no practice swings, hit it, and just keep going.
Yeah.
It's all business.
If you don't find your lost ball in 3 to 5 seconds, you drop another one. But well, that was a good one. So that kind of wraps up some of the current news and events from the week. Not as much as usual.
It is kind of funny that the Tarnasky video has literally put McKenna on the back burner as far as the hockey world goes, but that's the internet.
Yeah. Well, why don't we do our report card for the week?
I've been reviewing your work. Quite frankly, it stinks. These reports you handed in, it's almost as if you have no business training at all.
All right, I'm giving an F-, and that's just because I can't think of a lower grade for the Sportsnet Plus app. So I decided to subscribe for the playoff run and then now into baseball. And I, like, from a broadcasting company to put this out, I don't think I've had a worse customer experience than with this fucking thing. It freezes all the time. It's constantly buffering. And then just 2 days ago, they decide to increase the price by 30%. I'm assuming because they got to pay for the NHL rights that they just bought. But it's just a nightmare to use. And how you justify increasing the price with such a poor product, I'll never know. So F- for Sportsnet.
I'm going with a D for spin classes at the gym. Now, I'm not opposed to getting in a good workout, and me myself, you know, I kind of got off my exercise routine and indulged a little bit more over the wedding and the week after the cabin. So I've been trying to get back into the routine again. So I'm at the gym the other day. I'm just on the treadmill doing a little bit of a cool down, trying to watch a YouTube video. There's this spin class going on. It's 30 feet away from the treadmill I'm on. It's like a Skrillex concert going on in there. They've got the music blasting so loud that I have my noise canceling headphones on and I still can't hear the YouTube video that I'm trying to watch. The instructor in there sounds like Prime Axl Rose doing a drill sergeant impression. And I know guys in their mid 40s aren't the target audience for those spin classes, but I'm still giving it a D because that's annoying as fuck.
All right, that's a good one. All right, I got a A++ for Sacramento Kings guard John Elmore. I don't know if you've seen this guy, but he's 29 years old. He's playing in his first summer league. And if you get a chance, go on TikTok, go on YouTube, watch this guy's first game. He dropped 35. He's a balding white dude, and the guy is just a walking bucket. And the passes, like it looked like, you remember when Jason Williams came in, white chocolate, and you're seeing all the shit that you haven't seen since Pistol Pete? This guy was dropping dimes like behind the back, over the head. But he was hitting these like step to the right fadeaway threes. It was just amazing. So I don't know if he's going to make an NBA roster. Probably not, but a big A++ for John Elmore.
I'm going to go with an A for Jonathan Taves signing a contract with Winnipeg. We didn't really get a chance to touch on that when we did our free agent episode. Yeah, just kind of cool. Always a guy I respected. I loved him with the World Juniors, playing with Team Canada, played hockey the right way, a great captain, and kind of sucked to see the way his career ended with the COVID complications. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that he can have a nice return. He's a Winnipeg guy originally, so he'll be playing in front of his friends and family there. So just kind of a feel-good story. Hope he does well. He's 37 years old, so hopefully he has a couple of good years left in the tank, and so A for him getting his career back on track.
All right, I got another F for the new CBA agreement for the NHL, and just one specific part. So the players are not allowed to endorse cannabis or tobacco products, which, whatever, I get. But it's totally okay to roll these guys out into every single gambling commercial that you could absolutely think of. And the worst one, and the one that drives me nuts the most, is the one where Connor McDavid's sitting on a couch telling his buddy about the gambling tools they have for problem gambling. Like, I know that's the first thing every gambler looks into. Well, what kind of resources do they have if shit gets out of control here? Like, it's just so stupid. Anyways, I just thought that was sort of hypocritical. Like, let's pump every single other addiction is no good, but let's get everybody into debt. So another F for the CBA.
But it's safe though, Charlie, because when you log on to your gambling site, it has that yes/no question of whether you're fit to gamble. And I'm sure everybody that's got a serious gambling addiction always clicks no on that, right?
I love that. It'd be like them doing an ad for cocaine and they're like, yeah, I just love how efficient I am on this stuff. There's no other concerns at all.
Nice. I'm giving a D, I guess, for giant baseball hats. So just recently, LSU commit Lamar Brown, kind of pegged as one of the top defensive guys coming out of high school in the last 10 years or so. He announced his commitment to LSU, and you know how they usually have the hats of the different schools they're considering. So He puts it on, but it's not just a regular hat. It's a giant, like, Saturday Night Live parody of a baseball hat. And I remember seeing this some guy on the Washington football team wore it once, and I thought it was a joke, and then I keep seeing these around, and this guy's like, he's putting his hat on when he makes his announcement. It's not like you're getting the sense he's doing it to get a laugh or something. I think these are like hats that people are wearing, and maybe I'm just getting too old for these things, but I don't know. I don't understand these giant baseball hats.
It's legit too. I remember when the Washington player put them on, talking to our friend Dave there, and we looked it up, and they're like $500 or $600 too. Sweet sound investment.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll go with a D for the running of the bulls in Spain. So shockingly, I'm flipping through social media and I see a headline, 2 gored and 12 injured in running of the bulls. And I'm just like, these people should not receive any medical care whatsoever. Like, if you're that stupid, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen the videos of these
Yeah.
people, and it's not like the bull is gonna ease up, right? Like he's taking you out. So I just think that whole thing is unbelievably stupid, and I don't get it. So I'm giving it a D.
And a goring, that has to be one of the worst injuries you could receive, right? Like that's basically a giant puncture wound right through your body. I
Yeah.
can't think of too many more unpleasant injuries to get than a good goring.
I believe this guy got a gore through the armpit, so I can only imagine
Jesus.
be a tough day at work on Monday.
And say you're running with the Bulls is a successful endeavor, you avoid a goring. What are you really getting out of it?
Well, that's the thing. Like the people who get injured are the only ones that are going to have a story about it, right? Hey, how'd you lose your armpit?
Well, that's it for me for the report card. Did you have any other ones you wanted to cover off?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. Well, let's wrap it up for the week. We've kind of talked about all the hockey news, but some interesting things on the music front is summer is a big time with music, festivals going on, and we've got a few notable names in the music world, either doing reunion tours, farewell tours, all sorts of different things. I think one of the bigger ones going is the Oasis reunion tour. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I wasn't really the biggest Oasis fan. Like they're good. They got some great songs, but seeing the crowd reaction to some of this stuff, and I hope that they actually do make it to Toronto and not get in another internal battle. It's just cool to see. And people like, everyone makes fun of the Rolling Stones for continuing to tour and stuff like that. But when you watch these Oasis clips and highlights and stuff, and you see how happy the fans are because they haven't seen these guys on the same stage forever, I think it's pretty awesome. I don't know that it's worth the $600-700 for a ticket for myself, but if you're a super diehard fan, it's got to be quite an event to see.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was watching a few clips on YouTube and I thought they sounded great.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
And then it kind of prompted me to go through some of the Oasis catalog. I'm like you, I was never a diehard Oasis fan, but always enjoyed a bunch of their songs. And going through the catalog, I was like, wow, there's actually more. I forgot how many good songs they had that I really liked. I do find I'm on about a 5-song count before Liam's voice starts to grind on me a little bit. Kind of has that whiny sort of tone to it, but yeah, some of the riffs and Supersonic still gets me fired up every.
Absolutely. Speaking of riffs,
yeah.
So then I started watching some of the stuff from the Ozzy show, which was the big Black Sabbath farewell, and I'm kind of. When I first saw it, I was like, this is terrible. Why are they doing this to the poor guy? Like he could barely get out. Like hardly anything was on key to start, and that's understandable. He's an old man. But then this kind of the same thing, like after I watched a bit of it and you listen to people talking about it, especially some of the big, metal musicians, like the guys from Metallica, the guys from Slayer, all this stuff, talking about how much, this meant to them growing up as kids. And I'm like, you know what? I've turned around on this. I'm kind of glad they actually did it, and he kind of got to go out the way he wanted to do it. And I hope to God they don't do any more because I don't think he can handle it. But it was interesting to see, and it's hard to believe like they played War Pigs and Paranoid. And those songs are 50 years old, and those are still friggin' awesome songs, like incredible songs.
Yeah, absolutely. I was looking it up. Black Sabbath, I think their first album came out in 1970.
Yeah.
55 years ago. And I've seen them twice. I know we saw them together once. I believe that was 1996 at Cops Coliseum. Oh, yeah. And we kind of thought that might be our last chance to see him, and that was almost 30 years ago. Yeah, but that was a good concert. Danzig and Sepultura as well. I mean, you haven't lived till you've seen Mother live by Danzig.
Yeah, with a shirtless Danzig.
Yeah.
But I was reading one article and they kind of put it the best. Like, they were talking about how there was no metal. Like you can argue certain bands played heavy stuff. but they were like right out of the gate in 1970, they were already sort of perfect at this genre that didn't really exist. And I thought that summed it up pretty good.
Yeah, like you said, have that moment. They played back in Birmingham where it all started for them.
Yeah.
Well, congrats, Ozzy. A great run, 70 to 2025. In the
That's
heavy
crazy.
metal business, that's not that easy to do. One other concert I wanted to talk to you about, or group, is the Dead and Company. I saw these videos on YouTube for them playing at the Sphere in Vegas. It just looked crazy. Obviously, they're known for more of a psychedelic infused production. But I was curious because I was never into the Grateful Dead as much as you, and definitely not as much as your dad. I know Jerry's not with us anymore, but what exactly is the Dead and Company?
So you got Bob Weir, who was one of the original members. Then you've got one of the drummers who was back in the old days. And then you've got a couple other, high-end musicians. You got this bass player, Otel Burbridge, who's just incredible. And then they've added John Mayer to be sort of like Jerry's role. And Jerry wasn't ever exactly the greatest vocalist, but John Mayer is a better vocalist. And I would say they're pretty much on par with guitar. And they're just playing all the classic stuff. And for me, when it's like summertime and I'm just sitting outside, you throw on one of these Dead and Company concerts and just let it go. That is like prime summer for me. You just sit back. You don't got to change it. You may have to sit through a 23-minute version of a song, but they've mastered the art of the jam, and it's always interesting, and you're always going to hear something, like they'll mix in a lot of, covers, Allman Brothers, the band, all this stuff. And it's not for everybody, that's for sure. But if you appreciate the instrumental work of these guys, it's for me, it's prime summer listening.
Nice. You got me kind of motivated now. I'm gonna give that a listen, because
Yeah.
that's what one thing I always found is their catalog's almost overwhelming. It's sort of like, where do you even start? So,
but even the studio stuff is not worth listening. I shouldn't say it's not worth listening to. It's obviously great, but what the best part is the live stuff where you get the improv and stuff. I'll send you a link to a couple of good shows to just put on if you're sitting outside. For some reason it's good. It's good summer, either doing nothing, or if you're doing like yard work, it's just, for some reason, it hits the sweet spot for both those things.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking that out. And I was actually surprised even seeing these YouTube videos. Check out the one at the Sphere if you haven't seen it. It's friggin'
Insane.
Crazy.
I don't like.
Go ahead.
If you were, I'm gonna assume quite a few people in that audience are fairly altered mentally.
Yeah.
Like I'm watching it on YouTube and I'm having a hard time focusing. I couldn't imagine if you were, whatever you're on, trying to focus on all the visuals as well as the music. Like, it must be,
it's a lot to
you'd
process.
almost come out of there like you were high, even if you weren't, I think, with so much going on.
Yeah, I think so. It's like, it's almost like you don't need the live band there because the Sphere is the experience on its own. It's like the two things are competing against each other, but it would be cool to see a concert there.
I think so.
But I was surprised how many young people were there. I was expecting it to be the audience full of baby boomers, but they seem to, maybe with John Mayer in the fold, they've broadened their audience base a little bit and brought in a younger audience in there.
Yeah, they just keep going, keep trucking.
Yeah, nice. Well, let's keep on trucking on with our day here. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. The sun is shining. Perfect Dead and Company weather. So we're going to get that fired up. You and I are planning a little board meeting for the podcast next weekend. So we might take a week off for the episode here just during the summer break, start doing a little planning for next year. So if you guys don't see a new episode next week, don't worry. We'll be back the following week. Enjoy your summer break, and we'll talk to you guys soon.